Global warming refers to the long-term increase in Earth's average surface temperature due to human activities, primarily the burning of fossil fuels and deforestation. This phenomenon has far-reaching consequences for our planet's climate, ecosystems, and biodiversity. One interesting fact is that the Earth's temperature has risen by about 1.2 degrees Celsius since the late 19th century, with the majority of this increase occurring in the past few decades. This may seem like a small change, but it has significant implications for our environment. Another striking statistic is that 2016 was the hottest year on record, followed closely by 2020, highlighting the ongoing trend of rising temperatures. These rising temperatures are disrupting weather patterns, causing more frequent and severe heat waves, storms, and droughts. The Arctic region is particularly vulnerable, with temperatures rising at twice the global average rate, leading to the rapid melting of ice caps and glaciers. This not only contributes to rising sea levels, but also threatens the survival of species that depend on these icy habitats. The impacts of global warming are not limited to the polar regions. They are felt worldwide. Coral reefs, for example, are suffering from coral bleaching events due to warmer ocean temperatures, leading to widespread coral death and loss of marine biodiversity. The interconnected nature of ecosystems means that disruptions in one area can have cascading effects on others. Understanding the definition of global warming is crucial for recognizing the urgency of taking action to mitigate its effects and protect our planet for future generations. Biodiversity, or biological diversity, is the variety of life forms on Earth, encompassing all living organisms from microscopic bacteria to towering trees. It is a measure of the richness and complexity of ecosystems, reflecting the interdependence of different species and their environments. One fascinating fact is that Earth is home to an estimated 8.7 million species, although scientists believe this number could be much higher, with many species yet to be discovered and classified. The Amazon rainforest alone is thought to harbor a significant portion of Earth's biodiversity, with millions of species of plants, animals, and insects coexisting in this lush ecosystem. Biodiversity plays a crucial role in maintaining the health and stability of ecosystems, providing essential services such as pollination, nutrient cycling, and pest control. It also offers potential sources of new medicines, foods, and materials for human use, highlighting the importance of preserving diverse habitats. However, human activities such as deforestation, pollution, and climate change are threatening biodiversity at an alarming rate. According to the World Wildlife Fund, the current rate of species extinction is estimated to be between 1,000 and 10,000 times higher than the natural background rate, with many species facing the risk of extinction due to habitat loss and degradation. Protecting biodiversity is not only a moral imperative, but also essential for ensuring the resilience and sustainability of our planet's ecosystems. By conserving and restoring diverse habitats, we can help safeguard the intricate web of life that sustains us all. Ecosystems are dynamic and complex communities of living organisms interacting with each other and their physical environment. One fascinating aspect of ecosystems is their ability to self-regulate and adapt to changing conditions, maintaining a delicate balance that sustains life. For example, the Serengeti ecosystem in Africa is home to a diverse array of species, from lions and elephants to wildebeests and zebras, all interconnected in a web of relationships. This ecosystem undergoes seasonal migrations, with millions of animals following the rains in search of food and water, showcasing the interconnectedness of species and habitats. Another intriguing fact is that a single tree in the Amazon rainforest can support a myriad of plant and animal species, creating a microcosm of life within its branches and roots. Ecosystems provide a wide range of services essential for human well-being, such as clean air and water, fertile soil for agriculture, and climate regulation. Wetlands, for instance, act as natural filters, purifying water and reducing the impacts of floods and droughts. Mangrove forests along coastlines serve as barriers against storm surges and provide vital nurseries for fish and other marine species. Despite their importance, ecosystems are under increasing pressure from human activities. with an estimated 60% of ecosystem services in decline globally. Deforestation, urbanization, and pollution are among the key drivers of ecosystem degradation, leading to loss of biodiversity and disruption of vital ecological processes. Protecting and restoring ecosystems is critical for ensuring the long-term health and resilience of our planet. By conserving natural habitats, implementing sustainable land use practices, and promoting biodiversity conservation, we can help safeguard the invaluable services that ecosystems provide for both nature and society. Global warming is primarily caused by human activities that release greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, trapping heat and leading to a rise in temperatures. One interesting detail is that carbon dioxide, CO2, is the most abundant greenhouse gas emitted through activities such as burning fossil fuels for energy, transportation, and industrial processes. In 2019, global CO2 emissions reached a record high of 36.8 billion metric tons, contributing significantly to the warming of the planet. Another key greenhouse gas is methane, CH4, which is released from sources like livestock farming, rice paddies, and landfills. Methane is about 28 times more effective at trapping heat than CO2 over a 100-year period, making it a potent contributor to global warming. Nitrous oxide, N2O, is another greenhouse gas with a warming potential nearly 300 times that of CO2, mainly emitted from agricultural practices and industrial activities. Deforestation and land use changes also play a significant role in global warming by reducing the Earth's capacity to absorb CO2 through photosynthesis. It is estimated that deforestation accounts for about 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions, making it a major driver of climate change. In addition to human activities, natural factors such as volcanic eruptions and solar radiation can influence the Earth's climate. Volcanic eruptions release large amounts of ash and gases into the atmosphere, which can temporarily cool the planet by blocking sunlight. Solar radiation variations, caused by changes in the sun's energy output, can also impact global temperatures over long timescales. While natural factors play a role in climate variability, the overwhelming consensus among scientists is that human activities are the primary drivers of the current global warming trend. Understanding the causes of global warming is essential for developing effective strategies to mitigate its impacts and transition to a more sustainable future. Global warming poses a significant threat to biodiversity, with profound impacts on ecosystems and the delicate balance of life on Earth. One interesting detail is that climate change is driving shifts in species distributions, as plants and animals migrate to cooler regions in search of suitable habitats. For example, polar bears in the Arctic are facing habitat loss due to melting sea ice, forcing them to travel longer distances in search of food and raising concerns about their long-term survival. Another fascinating fact is that rising temperatures are disrupting the timing of natural events, such as flowering and migration patterns, leading to mismatches between species that depend on each other for survival. This disruption can have cascading effects on entire ecosystems, affecting food chains and biodiversity. The impacts of global warming on biodiversity are already evident in the rapid decline of species worldwide. According to the Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, IPES, up to 1 million plant and animal species are at risk of extinction, with climate change being a major contributing factor. Coral reefs, often referred to as the rainforests of the sea, are particularly vulnerable to the effects of global warming. Warmer ocean temperatures and ocean acidification are causing widespread coral bleaching events, leading to the loss of vibrant coral ecosystems and the marine biodiversity they support. The Great Barrier Reef, the world's largest coral reef system, has experienced multiple bleaching events in recent years, with significant portions of the reef suffering from coral death. In addition to coral reefs, forests are also feeling the heat of global warming. Rising temperatures and changing precipitation patterns are increasing the frequency and intensity of wildfires, putting immense pressure on forest ecosystems and the species that call them home. The Amazon rainforest, known for its unparalleled biodiversity, is facing unprecedented threats from deforestation and climate change, with scientists warning of a tipping point beyond which the forest may not recover. The loss of biodiversity due to global warming has far-reaching consequences for human societies as well. Ecosystem services such as pollination, water purification, and carbon sequestration are vital for human well-being and economic prosperity. The decline of biodiversity can disrupt these services, leading to food insecurity, water scarcity, and increased vulnerability to natural disasters. Protecting biodiversity is not only a moral imperative, but also essential for ensuring the resilience and sustainability of our planet. By addressing the root causes of global warming and implementing conservation measures to safeguard biodiversity, we can work towards a more harmonious relationship between humans and the natural world. Global warming is having profound effects on ecosystems around the world, disrupting the delicate balance of life and threatening the survival of countless species. One interesting detail is that rising temperatures are causing shifts in the timing of seasonal events, such as flowering and migration patterns. For example, in the Arctic, the timing of ice melt is changing, impacting the availability of food for species like polar bears and seals. This mismatch in timing can have cascading effects on the entire ecosystem, leading to population declines and changes in species interactions. Another fascinating fact is that global warming is exacerbating the spread of invasive species, which can outcompete native species for resources and disrupt ecosystem dynamics. In the Galapagos Islands, invasive species like rats and goats have caused significant damage to native flora and fauna, threatening the unique biodiversity of the region. The impacts of global warming on ecosystems are far-reaching and complex, with no ecosystem being immune to its effects. Wetlands, for example, are experiencing changes in water availability and quality due to altered precipitation patterns and increased evaporation. This can lead to the loss of important wetland habitats and the species that depend on them for survival. Mangrove forests, known for their role in coastal protection and carbon sequestration, are also under threat from rising sea levels and storm surges. In the Sundarbans mangrove forest in Bangladesh, sea level rise is causing saltwater intrusion, leading to the decline of mangrove species and the loss of critical habitat for endangered species like the Bengal tiger. The Amazon rainforest, often referred to as the lungs of the earth, is facing unprecedented challenges from global warming. Deforestation and climate change are increasing the frequency and intensity of wildfires, which can have devastating effects on forest ecosystems and the species they support. In 2019, the Amazon experienced a record number of wildfires, with over 70,000 fires burning across the region. These fires not only release large amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, but also destroy vital habitats for countless plant and animal species. The loss of biodiversity in the Amazon has significant implications for global climate regulation and the provision of ecosystem services. Protecting and restoring ecosystems is essential for mitigating the impacts of global warming and preserving the rich tapestry of life on Earth. By implementing sustainable land use practices, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and promoting conservation efforts, we can help safeguard ecosystems for future generations. One fascinating case study of an impacted species is the Adelie penguin, Pygoscelis adelia, in Antarctica. These charismatic birds rely on sea ice for breeding and foraging, but as temperatures rise, sea ice extent is decreasing, affecting their ability to find food and rear their chicks. Research has shown that Adelie penguin populations in some regions of Antarctica have declined by up to 65% over the past few decades, highlighting the severe impact of climate change on these iconic birds. Another intriguing example is the monarch butterfly, Danaus plexippus, known for its remarkable migration from North America to Mexico. Climate change is disrupting the monarch's life cycle, affecting the availability of milkweed plants, which are essential for their survival. As a result, monarch populations have plummeted by over 90% in the past 20 years, raising concerns about the future of this iconic species. The coral reefs of the world's oceans are also facing unprecedented challenges due to global warming. One striking statistic is that more than 50% of coral reefs have been lost in the past 30 years, with climate change-induced coral bleaching being a major driver of this decline. The Great Barrier Reef in Australia, the largest coral reef system in the world, has experienced severe bleaching events in recent years, with up to 90% of corals in some areas affected. These case studies underscore the urgent need for action to address the impacts of global warming on biodiversity and ecosystems. By protecting and restoring habitats, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and promoting sustainable practices, we can help safeguard the future of species like the Adelie penguin, monarch butterfly, and coral reefs for generations to come. Mitigation strategies play a crucial role in addressing the impacts of global warming on biodiversity and ecosystems. One interesting approach is the use of nature-based solutions, such as reforestation and habitat restoration, to enhance carbon sequestration and biodiversity conservation. Reforestation projects have the potential to sequester significant amounts of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, with one study estimating that global tree restoration could capture 205 gigatons of carbon, equivalent to two-thirds of all human-caused emissions to date. Another fascinating strategy is the implementation of sustainable land use practices such as agroforestry and sustainable agriculture to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and promote ecosystem resilience. Agroforestry systems, which integrate trees and crops on the same land, can help sequester carbon in soils and provide habitat for a variety of species. In Costa Rica, the adoption of agroforestry practices has led to increased biodiversity and improved soil health, demonstrating the potential of sustainable land management for mitigating climate change impacts. Climate-smart agriculture is another innovative approach that combines sustainable farming techniques with climate adaptation strategies to enhance food security and reduce emissions. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, climate-smart agriculture practices have the potential to reduce global greenhouse gas emissions by up to 30% by 2050. These mitigation strategies not only help combat global warming, but also provide multiple co-benefits, such as improved soil fertility, enhanced water quality, and increased resilience to climate extremes. By scaling up nature-based solutions and sustainable land use practices, we can work towards a more sustainable and resilient future for biodiversity and ecosystems. Did you know that over 1 million plant and animal species are currently facing the risk of extinction due to climate change? This staggering statistic underscores the urgent need for action to protect biodiversity and ecosystems. By implementing sustainable land use practices and reducing greenhouse gas emissions, we can help mitigate the impacts of global warming and safeguard the future of our planet's rich diversity of life. Every small step counts towards a more sustainable future, whether it's supporting local conservation efforts, reducing your carbon footprint, or advocating for policy changes. Together, we have the power to make a difference and ensure a thriving planet for generations to come. The time to act is now, before it's too late. Let's join hands and take a stand for biodiversity, ecosystems, and the future of our planet. Did you know that the Arctic is warming at twice the global average rate, leading to rapid ice melt and habitat loss for species like polar bears? In the Amazon rainforest, over 135 billion tons of carbon are stored in the trees, highlighting the critical role of forests in climate regulation. Globally, the ocean absorbs about 30% of carbon dioxide emissions, helping to mitigate the impacts of climate change. Despite these natural processes, human activities continue to accelerate global warming, with carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere reaching 400 parts per million, the highest in over 800,000 years. The time to act is now to protect our planet's biodiversity and ecosystems for a sustainable future.